Call this meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. according to Microsoft, and declare a board quorum is present. I would like to remind our audience and board members of our meeting norms. Participation of audience is not allowed outside of the designated time for public comment. Negative comments on individual personnel or students will not be entertained in public session. Board members will not ask questions or deliberate on topics not included in the agenda posted. Board members will respect and follow proper meeting rules and norms. Please stand for invocation led by Mr. Jonathan Sublett and from Crossover Church and our pledges of allegiance led by Mr. Scott Schwartz.
Father, we thank you this evening for the gathered people that are in this room. We thank you for all the effort they put into our families and our community. We ask that you would give them wisdom as they make decisions, that you would grant us grace, that we can give that to each other as we discuss different topics. Even though we may differ in opinions, Father, I pray that love be the overriding essence of this meeting, that we all look together and see that we want the same thing at the end. So, Father, bless this time. May it be used to bring you glory here in the Brazosport community. We thank you and honor you in your darling Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor to the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Next on our agenda is awards, achievements, and recognition. Thank you, Jonathan, for the presentation. Thank you, Mr. Short.
Will you please join me down here? Thank you. Board members, staff, and guests. Well, you can tell that we have really geared up for the beginning of school because here we are with more awards. And we have really wonderful awards to present this evening. And I want to introduce Mr. Danny Massey, our Assistant Superintendent of Leadership. He will be the first to present today.
Thank you. The district has formed a great partnership recently with Jonathan Sublett and Crossover Community Church. Crossover works closely with many of the Freeport schools to provide support for BISD students and staff. In the past year, Crossover hosted a community picnic at Jane Long Elementary for BISD students and families. In addition, Crossover hosted a family movie night in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club for families in Freeport. Mr. Sublett and a team from Crossover Community Church adopted 08 Fleming Elementary and volunteered time tutoring students at the campus. They also provided Fleming teachers with ice cream parties, breakfasts, and lunches to show their support and appreciation. In August, Crossover sponsored a back-to-school bash at the Boys and Girls Club in Freeport. Over 400 community residents attended. School supplies and backpacks were collected for over 200 BISD students. Mr. Sublett and members of the church serve as mentors through the Anchor Dads program at Brazosport High School. Last Friday, Crossover supplied the food and music for the Red Tide Community Pep Rally at Brazosport High School. Last year, Mr. Sublett participated in our BISD Leadership Program. It is with great pleasure that our district honor Mr. Jonathan Sublett and Crossover members Becky Aguilar, Chelsea Gonzalez, Jacob Bobmaster, and Justin Aguilar for going the extra mile to serve and support BISD. recognition is the Bay Area Council on Drugs and Alcohol, or BACODA. They have worked closely with BISD to provide substance abuse and underage drinking prevention activities and education to BISD students and staff. BACODA sponsored events at Brazos Wood and Brazos Fork to educate high school students about the dangers of drinking and driving. BACODA sponsored a Prom Promise Day and a Stop Drinking and Driving Day last spring, along with an impaired driving simulator. The event included presentations from MAD, BACODA, BISD Police Department, and TABC. BACODA also trained all secondary counselors about best practices for talking with students about drug and alcohol use. Last month, they provided staff development for over 100 of our BISD secondary athletic coaches concerning drugs commonly used by teens. They also presented information to support coaches with equipping students with refusal skills. BACODA has also supported the district with a drug and alcohol specialist to work full-time in the district. All of this has been at no cost to us. It is my pleasure to present Danielle Meyer, Carrie Fletcher, and Becky Wintello for our BISD Extra Mile Award.
Intermediate School. Ms. Collins received the Heartwork nomination from the Freeport Intermediate School Principal, Ms. Merritt. Ms. Merritt commended Ms. Collins for being extremely helpful on the first day of school. On the first day of school, Ms. Collins started her day by monitoring students in the cafeteria and positively interacting with them. She also helped students to acquire their schedules, assisted students to find their classrooms, and monitored the hallways. She did all of this with a smile. Thank you for all that you do every day to help students to be successful on your campus. Ms. Collins, please accept this dinner for two from our 4 BISD Kids partner, El Chico's, and a certificate on behalf of Dr. Elisha and the board for going above and beyond to make BISD a great place to work.
I'm the science coordinator for grades K through 12, and this evening it is my pleasure to share some information with you about an outstanding BISD science teacher, Ms. Kelly McBrayer. Would you please join me? This summer, Lanier Middle School teacher Kelly McBrayer was selected to attend a week-long professional development for teachers of science at the Smithsonian Energy Past, Present, and Future Academy. Kelly and the other attendees worked with scientists, curators, engineers, and educators at the Smithsonian and other local venues. Much of the time was spent in hands-on content sessions that took the participants beyond the scenes of current research in sustainable energy resources. Kelly, thank you for going above and beyond the school walls to gain knowledge and experiences to share with your colleagues and students.
Well, Well, you know when I walk back up, this concludes our Memorial Day meeting. But we'll be back next month.
At this time, in accordance with BISD local, the board will provide an audience with individuals who have signed up prior to the meeting to address the board. Mr. Atkins will serve as our timekeeper, and for those requesting to speak, please note that comments are limited to a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker, with a maximum of 30 minutes total allotted for public comment. Delegations of more than 5 persons shall appoint a representative to present their views before the board. Patrons are encouraged to use appropriate campus and administration channels for bringing concerns to the attention of the board. Tonight we have 2 requests to comment. Mr. Jim Martin and Mr. Manning Rogers. Jim Martin?
Howdy.
Howdy.
Well, I'm sure you're probably aware of the fact that I'm the leader of the All-In for BISD PAC. And I guess that makes me the leader of the pack. Man, I wanted to be the leader of the pack so long, and I didn't know it would be this easy. First off, I want to have my assistant, Vanna Shelley Martin here, hand out some of the top 10 reasons that you should go all in for BISD. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's happened over the last 100 hours. 2 o'clock Friday, we received our first shipment of signs. 400-yard signs and 70 large signs. I'm proud to announce at 1 o'clock, or now at 6 o'clock tonight, 100 hours later, we are 99% out of signs, and we have to get more signs.
All right.
Suddenly, it is cool to be in favor of the school bond. So we're excited about that. The leader of the PAC job, everybody involved with the PAC, please stand up. That's here. Come on. Come on. Atta baby. 20 to 25 active members, another 20 to 25 behind the scenes members, and we are having a great time. I mean, I haven't had this much fun since I ran for mayor. I forgot, that life is a roller coaster and politics is a busted roller coaster. The only way that you can get upset when you're running for office, you drive down the street putting out a sign and you see your opponent's sign. But this has been great because right now there is no opponent sign. So everywhere we go, all we see is vote for school bonds. And it's been outstanding. Now, I'm not a Facebook person. My wife is, and that turned out to be pretty good. But the 2012 bond, as an example, had 20 Facebook likes at the beginning of this bond. Right now, we had 146 likes this week. We're currently at 567 likes. We got 681 people actively engaged on our Facebook page, and we've reached 6,265 people. It has been amazing. One thing I'm sure all of you know, but I am a product of BISD. If it was not for BISD, I would not be the person I am today. I went to elementary school at Jane Long Elementary and fell in love with Texas history. I went to Freeport Junior High and fell in love with Alan Lee. Alan Lee taught me citizenship, leadership, and other skills that I could use the rest of my life. And I should have apologized at the beginning of this that I will try real hard to make it through all of this, but everything I say comes from my heart. I look at numbers because I'm not a Facebook guy, but the rest of what you're going to hear is coming from here. And I am passionate about this school bond. There is no reason, no valid reason to be against this school bond. And if you read those top 10 reasons that we're going to be telling everybody that'll listen over the next however many days, that you have to vote in support of this school bond. We're doing this school bond now, not for necessarily the kids that are in school today, definitely not my kids. We're doing this for kids that aren't even thought of yet. We're doing this for children of the children that are in school today. So it is extremely important. There's no reason in the world for anybody not to support this bond. One of the things that I fell in love with because of Jane Long, mother of Texas, lover of the Karankawa Indians, was Texas history. my favorite event through Texas history was the Battle of the Alamo. I'm sure there's lots of kids in Texas that felt that way too. But if you remember in William Barrett Travis's Victory or Death speech, he was telling the world that he was surrounded by the enemy and that he would fight to the end, and that he felt the Lord was on their side, because when they went in the Alamo, they didn't have food or provisions for the people inside. But in no time, they had 80 to 90 bushels a week, they had 20 or 30 head of cattle, and they had enough to not only feed the ones that were there, but everybody else. So this bond and this PAC bond is working the same way. We didn't have enough money for signs. We prayed about signs, and we had enough money for our first order. I called yesterday and said, how much money we got? We got 99 bucks. I said, well, that ain't gonna cover the second order. We prayed about that. We got $1,700 in 24 hours. So we got 470 more signs coming. We're gonna hit the street putting them out. And you can guarantee you one thing, between now and November 4th, the PAC's gonna be all behind the BISD. Thank y'all very much for this opportunity, and I look forward to continuing this push all the way to November 4th. Thank you.
Next, Manning Rollerson.
This is my very first time addressing you guys, and good to see some of y'all I know, and some of y'all I've talked to on the telephone concerning different issues. We have an issue. I'm a concerned grandfather because I went through the same issue with my kids in school. Send them to school to get an education. That's what they go to school for. I don't take their tolerance or their nonsense. I take it to heart when they go to school, because they got to be better than what I am. As a father that was raising my kids, I'm stealing them to be better, get an education, because I didn't give one, but I served my country. Got an education right here in BISD. So basically, I can't read though. Understand? I can't read, but I serve my country. I don't want that to happen. I want him to have an education so he can be successful in life. And as it stands now, I'm afraid to send him to school. I'm really afraid to send him to school because I don't know if he's going to be abused again. This is my concern. As a grandfather that's raising a mentally challenged kid. How was he abused? He was slapped in his face by a teacher. So, you know, my concern is if the school system is going to protect our kids, or they going to let our kids be abused. This is my concern. But I expect that we'll have a better year because I haven't seen a lot of our kids that's graduating in our school districts anyway. You know, and we hope for better. There's a new year, there's a new change. God make a difference. Because the same future leaders are sitting out there. Just like y'all sitting there, but the same one's got to come here. Ms. Maisie Mack was my counsel. That's the only lady that was on this board right there that made something happen for the citizens of Freeport by Allison. She instilled in us to get one, because nobody else can get it. Nobody can get it. I just want him to get an education, but I want him to be safe. So I have a blessing.
Next, we have consent agenda. Are there any items requested to be pulled from the consent agenda?
I have a review of the consent agenda, so I'll go through that quickly before we pull any items, if that's okay. There are quite a few items in our consent agenda this evening. To highlight, in purchases exceeding $25,000, you'll see a very large paper order, since buying in bulk provides a cost savings to our district. You also see a number of technology-related items, which are part of the 2012 bond purchases, including 1,300 Chromebooks for our teacher grant recipients and 30 additional teacher laptops. The gym floor at Brazos Wood is also recommended for replacement utilizing the 2012 bond funds following the completion of the roofing project. The contracted services listed in your board book are utilized in our special education program to support the learning needs of our students, and the software program serves as a management system for all the special ed records and to document funding. Lake Jackson Intermediate is utilizing their state compensatory education funds to purchase the Mind Play Virtual Reading Coach and Ascend Math as computer-based intervention programs for their at-risk students. And we are recommending using IMA funds to provide training for our pre-K teachers on the creative curriculum the board approved at a prior meeting. Under bids, there's a slight adjustment to share here. We are recommending the board approve the bid to Balfour for the yearbooks, but this bid will be for the 15-16 school year since Jostens is currently being used at Brazoswood and timing makes it difficult to make an immediate change. The transition and training to Balfour will take place throughout the 14-15 school year. In item F, you'll find the district performance objectives, and in item I, reaffirmation of the district vision statement. These both require annual board action, but are a direct reflection of our long-range strategic plan or reflect legal requirements and are foundational components for our continuous improvement efforts. We are not recommending any changes from last year, and the board will be provided a complete district improvement plan in October. There are also 2 additional annual agreements included in the consent agenda this evening. The resolution and agreement regarding the extracurricular status simply allows our students to miss school to participate in school-sponsored 4-H events without receiving an unexcused absence. We believe extracurricular programs are a valuable part of the learning experience and want to support student participation. The MOU with JJAUP is our standard annual agreement should there be a need to place a student in that program. Therefore, it is my recommendation that the board approve the items in the consent agenda as outlined in your board packet. So at this time, Mr. Damien, I'll turn it back over to you.
I'll make the motion that we approve the consent agenda. Okay, have a motion, Mr. Atkins. Second by Patty Sayes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay.
Hey, another reason, I missed 2 board meetings and my computer cratered. That's all that means.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is a memorandum of understanding of the Bay Area Council on Drugs and Alcohol.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to present the memorandum of understanding with Bay Area Council on drugs and alcohol. We're excited to partner with Dakota again this year to provide services to our BISD students. The memorandum of understanding is in your board packet. Dakota will provide a youth prevention specialist to be housed at Lanier, Clute Intermediate, and Rasco Middle School. The specialist will provide prevention strategies and good decision-making skills to students using the Positive Action Social Skills curriculum. They will also provide in-service training on tobacco, drugs, and alcohol to BISD staff. Dakota trained over 100 of our athletic coaches last month in drug and alcohol identification, prevention strategies, and refusal skills to be passed on to our student athletes. More of our extracurricular directors and sponsors will receive training this year. Dakota has provided training for all of our high school counselors. They were also instrumental in bringing in hands-on prevention activities to our students like impaired driving simulators and goggles for our students to experience what it's like to be impaired. More plans to address student drug and alcohol awareness and prevention will be continuing our random student drug testing for high school students participating in extracurriculars or who receive a vehicle parking permit. Drug sniffing dogs will be on secondary campuses. Our BISD Police Department will provide identification training with our secondary staff. Our County Sheriff's Office will continue to provide the DARE program for our 5th grade students. Prisoners from the Texas Department of Corrections will give student presentations on the consequences of making bad choices. And they're very effective presenters. They always get the students' attention. Our counselors have revised their guidance documents to include student lessons on making healthy choices. We'll continue our celebrations of Red Ribbon Week and Chicken Club Rally for our elementary students. We've prepared lessons to be delivered to teach students refusal skills and the dangers of marijuana and synthetic marijuana. We'll continue to provide and support Project Graduation, which is a safe event after graduation ceremonies at the school for seniors to celebrate. We'll continue our mentoring programs and are beginning a Too Smart to Start community task force with parents and community members to be involved with helping keep our students safe. We're partnering with Dakota to host a parent awareness night to help educate parents. And we're also going to partner with our sheriff's office. They are going to create and will help promote a hotline to enable community members to call and identify homes or areas that are serving alcohol to minors. It is the recommendation of the administration for the Board of Trustees to approve the MOU with Dakota as presented. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Hearing none. Thank you, Danny.
Well, actually, I have one.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That was a very impressive list. It looks like each of those groups kind of covers a different area and a different population of the students. Is there anything that's falling through the crack? Is there an area that we think we are missing something that we need to either incorporate it into one of these programs or tailor a specific program to try to capture those?
One of the areas that we've focused on this year, because we've obviously identified it as a need, is the marijuana and synthetic marijuana. Marijuana is very prevalent in our communities now. It's legal in some states. Our students really don't see it as a dangerous drug, and so we're focusing on that. And synthetic marijuana also, students refer to it as legal marijuana. It's sold probably maybe across the street at the convenience store. It's sold over the counter in stores, and so they don't see that as a danger. And so marijuana and synthetic marijuana are two really dangerous areas. Synthetic marijuana is very, very dangerous, and we have horror stories of students and people in the community that have taken that and really have had some bad reactions to it.
Any other? Thank you, Danny.
I'll move to accept the recommendation for the new year.
Okay, we have a motion by Doris Sullivan. Second. Second by Patty Sayes. Those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by nay. Motion carries. Next agenda is consider easement exchange with CenterPoint Energy.
Good evening. In accordance with board policy CTV legal, strategic objective, that partnership between the district and community will be strengthened in order to increase shared responsibilities and trust. It's my pleasure to present this evening. This may look very familiar to you. For those that were here last year, August 8, 2013, the administration met with CenterPoint to discuss the relocation and upgrade to an electrical facility in Freeport located on district property. The original easement was never executed and crossed the board on August 8th, but was never executed due to potential issues with the levee system. CenterPoint has come back and revised their plans, and now their new request is for an aerial easement only, so there will not be nothing that hits our ground. Therefore, will not have an impact on the levee. The upgrade is due to increased demand for electrical service, and the relocation is at the request of the city of Freeport to avoid the removal of some trees at the city park. Upon completion of the new facility, CenterPoint will release its existing easement that they currently hold with the district in exchange. The requested area has been reviewed by staff and concluded that it will not interfere with operations. CenterPoint has prepared the necessary documents, and it is included in your packet for review. Administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the attached transmission line easement to provide upgraded electrical services to the Freeport area. That the Board President and its Board Secretary be authorized to execute documents on the district's behalf. Okay, good answer.
Move for approval. Okay, no questions? All right. And we have a motion by Scott Schwartz, second by Frank Sadie. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by nay. Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda is consideration of items pulled from consent agenda if applicable. There are none, so we'll proceed on to reports. K-12 Insight End of Year Overview.
Good evening. I would like to introduce K-12 Insight representatives Tony Masterio and Sarah Interline, Dr. Sarah Interline. They're going to do a summary of what they covered and with our focus groups and surveys and next step.
This is what was provided at our.
Good evening, thanks again for having us to present some results. Tonight we're doing a bit of a different presentation than what you're used to. Instead of focusing on results from surveys or focus groups, we want to give you an end of year overview of the work that we did in the past year, and then also looking towards some conversations we started to have with Dr. Leshta about what we got this next coming year. Just a reminder of who we are. At K-12 Insight, we provide a variety of services under research, promotion, and communications and technology. Myself lead up the research angle of our team. That includes engagement planning and a calendar, which is the entire year. We also provide focus group facilitation and reporting, of which you took advantage of last year. We also do train facilitators to run focus groups, and we manage projects from beginning to end. In regards to promotion and communication, which my colleague Tony heads up on our team, we provide pre-engagement communications, post-engagement communications, things like press releases, letters to the community, all-call messages, things of those sorts. We translate our materials into the languages of the local community, and we also present results, of which tonight is a big example of that. We also have technology platforms. We're very pleased to be launching Let's Talk, a new technology platform that is cloud-based repository for any question, comment, suggestion, complaint, or concern any community member may have. They have a place to log it. We also have our Engage software, which hosts all of our surveys, provides deployment and reporting features. And through both of those, we offer ongoing continuous software training and support, which is online and by phone. Our approach is one that takes time. A simple way of thinking about it, and this is probably because most people in the company are under 45 years of age and have young kids, it's crawl, walk, run. We start by crawling. Specifically in the first year, we invited conversations and participation from the community around a couple of very specific district-wide topics. In this case, school climate was something we focused on a lot this year. The next year, we think about walking. We continue conversations around the district priorities, and we initiate ongoing, continuous, two-way dialogue and hold ourselves accountable for having those dialogues. The third year is your running year, broadening conversations, increasing participation, digging deep into specific issues that may have come up over the past couple of years. And at this point, it becomes very exciting from the research perspective because you start to assess trends. You see trends over time, and that really takes 3 years in order to develop. So our look back at last year, here are the things we accomplished. In November, we had some focus groups with staff around education climate. In February, we conducted a survey of staff on climate. In March, we did a similar survey, but with the students. And then we came back in May to have some focus groups with the students, again, digging deeper into some of the issues that had come up from the climate survey. Also in May, we launched our first community-wide initiative with the community climate survey. Very recently, we conducted a beliefs survey with all of the teaching staff. And in July, we launched a success measures dashboard, which is available on your website, and there's a link right here to click in the PowerPoint if you would like to see it, but it's there under success measures. In regards to communicating with stakeholders, we did a number of communications. We we have a Your Voice portal that lives on your website, where our team manages the messages and reports that get posted. Currently, we have 2 reports up there from the previous year, and we have many that are planned to be posted soon. We also did staff emails and focus group letters and press release for the focus group. We sent letters to all staff as well as a press release for the climate survey. We instructed principals on how to best get students to the table to complete the student survey. We provided press releases for both the student focus group as well as the community climate survey. We're also in the midst of finalizing an end-of-year communication press release and a letter to the community, which is, like I said, in its final stages of editing. So here's an image about what we did to engage all stakeholders in Process for ISD. We reached a whopping 79% of school employees who participated in the site level survey. That is a huge success. Also a whopping 89%, and that's a research term, whopping, participated in the belief survey this summer, during the summer. 35 teachers were able to participate in the focus groups. We had almost 5,000, which is 79% of the student population, participate in the climate survey for students. And then 37 of them came and participated in focus groups to talk about some of the results from the survey. We had a great 1,500 community members who participated in the community climate survey. Important to note though, 68% of them, majority of them, were parents. And the community climate survey was also promoted to the Spanish-speaking community, however, few participated. So what the image shows here is that I think we did a successful job at communicating with parents, students, district staff, and school-based staff. To a small extent, we reached the non-parent community members, but there's room for improvement. And to a lesser extent, we reached the Spanish-speaking community. That's the area where I think there needs to be a lot more focus. Some key findings from the year: we asked staff and students to give a grade for campus. 67% of staff members, 43% of students, and 46% of parents rated the educational quality as an A or a B. And some major themes from across the year fell into about 4 categories. Under academic preparation, we heard things related to the rigor of the curriculum, preparation for college and career, and readiness for what will be expected, again, related to college and career. Under student behavior, a lot of information came about holding students accountable for disruptive behavior and holding staff accountable to enforce the types of codes that are being put in place. Also, establishing a sense of pride and honor to attend BISD. Under student support, one thing that came from here, again related to college and career readiness, was support for counseling and guidance counselors to be able to offer the tools that students need once they graduate. Within technology, many things came out of there, but the primary theme was related to teachers having a professional development opportunity to use technology as effectively as the students really needed them to, and the teachers' desire to be able to do that. I want to point out a few key findings from each of our groups. From staff members, one question we asked them was related to professional development. Where did they think they need the most professional development? As you'll see at the bottom, using technology for instruction received the highest. That was followed at the top by students with meeting the needs of students with disabilities, meeting the needs of English language learners, and meeting the needs of students in poverty. A key finding from students, we asked them what would make them most successful in their classroom. 60% of them said working in pairs or groups. They also said providing demonstrations or examples, and using technology. On the other side of that, what they didn't say was being delivered information through lecture would not make them successful. Also being provided a choice in how they learn, which was in the result we dug into further with the focus groups. And what really came out was that they felt that they really trusted their teachers. Their teachers really had, they thought, a professional ability to understand them. And they really trusted what the teacher would be able to put together. finding from the community survey, we asked them what the top 2 qualities or characteristics they felt made the district a good choice. What came out was the quality of teachers and the neighborhood schools aspect. Now looking towards next year, we completed what we call a survey of surveyors, which looks at everyone in BISD who potentially could be conducting their own survey this year. This helps us as K-12 Insight to really help you be strategic about the types of conversations we have with stakeholders. It's an inventory of all engagements that are planned for the coming year to identify all activity, identify any gaps in surveying, identify overlap. One thing that's not on here, identify survey fatigue potentially, and then you use that to really develop our calendar for what next year will hold. Some results at a glance. We got results from 20 participants, which was 46% of those that were invited to participate. They indicated that they plan to conduct at least 65 surveys this year. We asked what topics these surveys would be handling. The ones that came to the top were satisfaction, school improvement, professional development, climate, and program evaluation. We also asked whether these would be district-wide initiatives or whether they were school-based initiatives. And as you can see, we had a split. There were many initiatives that people would be administering district-wide, but some initiatives that were specific to a school. And these are the types of initiatives that we want to include in the conversations when we start designing our surveys around, for example, professional development. Now, it's important to note that some surveying is required. Some surveying fulfills grants, some fulfills a federal requirement, such as Title I, and some fulfill state requirements. Those things are important to continue and also to streamline so that we're not doubling efforts by multiple people doing the same survey in 2 different schools. So our recommendations from that type of a study is to look at those surveys and develop level 1 projects, which are district-wide projects that are managed by our team. Level 2 projects, which are large-scale projects managed by district staff, but they could consult our team and work with us, for instance, on survey questions, survey design, and even report dissemination. Level 3 projects are smaller projects managed by district staff. We will be training the principals on our Engage platform so that they have access to design and deploy their own surveys. Part of that is also working with the district to have guidelines around what use of the platform will look like, who has access and how should they be trained. We also work with the district to come up with a request procedure. If you would like to conduct a survey, it's important for you to go through a certain process so that we make sure it's not already being done and it's fulfilling a certain need. Some more planning for next year in terms of the partnership with us. What we proposed and started to work with Dr. Nikolashka is several projects. The first of which is Let's Talk, on the platform I mentioned previously, launching on Monday, I believe. Increasing engagement and accountability for all that are responding. Identifying community champions and enhancing school pride will be our objectives for this year. Doing a study on student engagement. Assessing 3 different types of engagement and determining subgroups that are in the greatest need. Again, looking at climate with staff, students, and parents mid-year. Conducting a senior and an alumni survey towards the end of the year to really look at improving college and career readiness, not just when they're graduating from here, but after they've been out for a year or more. Again, doing a community-wide survey to inform the community on district organization and priorities, and also to specifically assess the needs of diverse populations, the Spanish-speaking community in particular. Also planned are some community focus groups, and that's as TBD because we are trying to put them in a place where they're going to be most informative for all of the other projects. Assessing the district image and familiarity programs. Familiarity with you as a governing body, for instance. Inviting leaders from the less active groups into the conversation so that they can help us promote the types of surveying that we will be doing. And also, as I mentioned previously, training principals to use our Engage platform to support the school level initiatives that they have planned for the year. our calendar with a strategic plan specifically providing innovative and educational opportunities to address individual student needs will be aligned with our climate survey, the senior survey, and the student engagement survey. Equipping teachers with strategies necessary to support learning will be covered with the climate survey and our training plan for principals. Identifying opportunities for operational efficiencies and alternative resources will be covered in Let's Talk, the community climate survey, and our focus groups. Evaluating critical funding issues and communicating those to the stakeholders, again through Let's Talk, community survey, and a community focus group. Creating safe, secure, and environmentally friendly facilities to make BISD an industry leader. Alignment there will be the student climate survey and student engagement work. And finally, developing a plan that ensures two-way communication between the community and the district. Let's Talk, the site level climate survey, our community work with both the survey and the focus groups. So in conclusion, I just want to give you an image to show how this work really all comes together. We start with the school building, and really at the aim of our partnership is to get us to a trusting community where every member feels like they have a voice. We see this, as I said previously, a multi-year process. We started work last year. I put 2016 to 2017 here because that's where your strategic plan goes to. It starts with a blueprint. This is the engagement planning process that we're talking about tonight. What's going to be the most strategic way for us to have conversations, slowly and then picking up speed. Our second are these pillars related to the fully managed projects that the K-12 Insight team conducts with research, communication, and technology features to support. Within those pillars are the smaller scale projects that the principals themselves will conduct through the school-wide initiatives that they have. Now we see these pillars as being the support structures for how you get from a disconnected community that just looks at school buildings to a trusting community where everyone has a voice. So lying on top of that is Let's Talk, the ongoing continuous conversation where community members can come and provide input at any point in time, but they still have the opportunity to provide very specific, very deep, and very focused information through the pillars, be it the K-12 Insight managed projects or the school-wide initiatives. Thank you very much, and I'll take some questions if you have.
Got some clarifying questions from the board? Joe?
Well, I've just heard you say that we have a disconnected community. Is that your summation?
It's not. I think that we hope to get to a place where we all feel like there's trusting in the community.
That wasn't my question.
I do not feel that you have a disconnected community. I feel that the work that we've done this year has gotten us much further.
And why did you use that word?
I use it because it's a metaphor for where we're going from last year to what's coming.
In using this survey that you're doing, did you use the audit curriculum of January of 2012?
I'm not familiar with that curriculum. That's not the scope of this presentation.
I asked that question because there were two auditors from the state education agency that made a recommendation that we should continue to implement the recommendations by the report.
I'd be happy to look into the report and certainly use it in our planning.
What I understand, K-12 Insight is a resource to help us engage our community, not so much create plans. You identify gaps, and then administration or the district now identifies strategies to close those gaps, and actually maybe even the tasks to close the gap. Is that correct? And at a high level, that's pretty much it?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
It's good summary.
Okay.
So let's talk, how will you see that? It'll go directly to administration?
We're currently in the process of setting up the users who will get alerts when questions and comments will be submitted. The those will be logged in a, like I said, a cloud-based repository, where it's monitored by those specific users.
And then they're allowed to return the answer.
Correct, yes. People who submit, through Let's Talk will get responses, typically through Let's Talk as well.
Currently, we have a couple of different systems that we utilize. We use a button called Just Ask that our community members can submit us a question, as well as we have Tell Us Something Good. I have to remember the song, Tell Us Something Good. That is a system where they can provide compliments to the district. And so these are two separate systems. And one of the things we were also looking at is a management system for when phone calls come in and conversations take place, how do we track those? So Let's Talk is a more comprehensive system that will take the place of those items and we're piloting it here at the district level. Our directors and the directors, secretaries all received training this week. We're going to pilot here at the district level this year, and it will provide us actual reports on how's our response time to phone calls, how's our response time to comments. It will give direct feedback to whoever submits something, or if we input a phone call. We can even track, they have an app with it, downloaded this week, and you can actually, if you're out at the grocery store and someone asks you a question about the school district, you can put it in Let's Talk, and I can identify it by subject area, and it will go to the person that's responsible for that, and they can respond to that person. So it's a very robust system that I think will really enhance our tracking of conversations so that we can look for common themes, and that's really the goal. So we're really excited about using this new system, see how it works.
Is that a proprietary system of K-12 Insights, or is it commercial software?
Sure, did you have one?
Yeah, I had just a question back on the surveys of the 20 participants, 46 response rate. Was this teachers, administrators, or?
District level administrators.
Okay.
Well, I should say district and school level.
Well, okay. Because if I remember correctly, one of the things was to have individual schools learn the process of doing the survey within their schools together with information there, supplemented or I guess directed or supported by K-12. That's the case.
Yep,
That's coming up in a couple weeks.
couple weeks, the 1st of October, I believe,
Yes.
is when we're training principals on that.
I have one more question. At page 8, it said when you ask the students, 43% of students said that their education part of the campus was an A or B. Do I interpret an A to equal 90 or above, and B?
No, the question was stated, how would you grade your campus of an A, B, C, D, or F? And so however the student would have interpreted that scale would have been how they would have responded. There was no additional context that was provided about numerical range.
So that it's not correct. They just chose wherever they wanted to. Or something.
Correct, it's a perception based on the quality that they feel their campus.
But yet our state scores don't validate that.
The scale, the A through F, is a quality based on a perception, which is a different scale than other, such as letter grades that are based on a numeric, or the state may use to grade. They're different measures.
That's my question.
Any other questions? No, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good job. Next, school start highlights.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to present a report on the beginning of the school year. High schools and intermediates had student transition activities before school started. These activities included orientating students to the campus, through fun scavenger hunts, learning school traditions, and hearing motivational speakers. We partnered with True to Life Ministries and the Youth Ministerial Alliance to assist administrators and teachers with supporting these activities. All of our campuses were also busy with Meet the Teacher activities to ensure a smooth school start. We received excellent feedback regarding our attempts to lessen students' anxiety and create a welcoming environment for students and parents. We welcomed over 100 new teachers to the district with a 3-day teacher induction program that was themed Teach Like a Pirate. New teachers were provided training and additional support to ensure they would have a successful start in BISD. Our student enrollment at the end of the first week of school was 12,314 students, which is noted on this chart as BOY 1415. This is 192 students more than the end of last school year. It is 10 students less than the beginning of the last school year. We will continue to enroll additional students over the next several weeks. Our district received lots of community support to help students with the start of school. An example of a few are Go Kawasaki, Floor, and Crossover Community Church donated backpacks and school supplies to students. Junior Service League helped to stuff the bus with Kleenex and hand sanitizers that was distributed to our campuses. We had an incredible convocation beginning with cheers of one team, one vision, and ending with lessons taught to the entire district staff about the goals and strategies of the BISD strategic plan. I'm happy to report that we have had a really great start of school. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions?
Well, the start of weather always.
Do what? Clarifying questions?
I have a question, but I always defer to numerical order 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm 7. So I'm always the last one to ask a question.
Go first this time.
Go first this time.
How many total teachers do we have?
And stop at 9.
Thank you. According to our personnel director, 765.
And we said we hired over 100. How many do we hire?
Over 100. It was 122.
And my final question, they're all certified.
Yes, yes, sir.
Highly qualified.
That's part of the hiring
I understand, but last year, I had parents tell me that their children were being taught by substitutes for 4 weeks, or up to 8 weeks. I'll find out.
That's, I mean, they could have a sickness, they could have a long-term,
8 weeks?
yeah, sickness in the
Or
hospital.
they're not certified, they're substitute teachers.
The substitutes are actually approved qualified, certified substitutes. Yeah, I don't think it's that unusual to have, unfortunately, a teacher out for 8 weeks pregnancy. You know, we would like not to have that, but certainly, I would assume the administration would pursue the highest qualified substitute that they could possibly get. And I do know for a fact that some of the long-term substitutes are retired teachers. So,
I'm just gonna comment as a father, this is the smoothest back to school I've had in years.
We've had many positive comments from parents and administrators. Administrators that have been in the district a long time have told me this is the smoothest start that they've had. Now with our next talk, next year we'll be able to provide some actual data regarding how smooth that start is, right?
I did get a lot of positive comments also on having the forms available for registration and check-in online and pre-printed and all that, which is, hopefully next year we get those automated and stored.
Yeah. Very loud.
In the cloud. 4 years.
The only negative I heard was the one that I've heard 2 years, and I've seen it for the last 10, is our classes with picking up parking, et cetera.
Parking, and additional parking is in the bond.
Everybody's crazy on pickup, so, but that's, to me, that's a comment, and it wasn't really negative, just
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know if you've been able to notice the crosswalks. Really, if you haven't, that is really a good thing. Yeah, yeah, live crosswalks.
Yeah, I think we really need to say thank you to the city of Clute for partnering with us on this crosswalks. That has been very valuable, as well as I do want to reemphasize what Danny mentioned, that in the bond there are 200 additional parking spots, as well as improvements to Slade Field, and as well as a lot of our other campuses in regards to traffic flow. I think Mr. Sullivan was instrumental in really emphasizing the need for that, and that is something that is in the bond, and I think will really be a good positive impact, especially on the first day, but all throughout the year as we work through those traffic flow issues. So very excited about this business.
It's 15 minutes in.
A positive in the convocation. The little short presentation that was presented, several teachers, several folks at the convocation stopped and just said how informative that was, and that they just had no idea, they didn't know all this information. And so very, very positive because I think there was one of our teachers from the city of Austin made a suggestion. Dr. Halachka jumped all over it and gave us that little presentation. So it was very, very, very positive.
Yeah, we received a lot of good comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Next is 2012 bond project update.
Good evening. In accordance with Board Policy CD Local and in alignment with Strategic Objective Strategies 4.1 and 4.2, it is my pleasure to present the 2012 Bond Project Update. The 2012 Technology and Maintenance Bond provided over $26 million for technology updates and initiatives, and another $12 million for maintenance and facilities updates and initiatives. As of the end of August, approximately $21.6 million has been incurred or encumbered, and at this time, the 2012 bond is approximately 54% complete based on total dollars allocated versus total dollars spent. Keep in mind, many projects came in under budget, so the actual percentage of named bond projects that are complete could be slightly higher than the 54%. At this time, I will turn it over to the Director of Operations, Steve West, to share the summer maintenance bond project update, and subsequently the Director of Technology, David Mendoza, to share the summer technology bond project update.
Good evening. I would like to start with the playgrounds and security fences. Miracle Recreation has currently installed 4 playgrounds at Austin, Fleming, Griffith, and Jane Long. Polk and Boydell are scheduled for install in the coming weeks. Overall cost, $224,000. In addition, the majority of the playgrounds also receive security fences at Austin, Fleming, Griffith, Polk, and Velasco. Total cost, $85,000. The maintenance department was responsible for the installation of over 400 whiteboards during the summer and is close to being completed with only a few remaining whiteboards at Brand. Total cost, $91,000. For our roofing projects, we had multiple campuses get new roofs. Polk's roof was completed by Jayco Roofing at a cost of $295,000. We did have a minor setback by water leaking into 2 rooms. However, the roofing company was quick to respond to correct the problem to include replacement of the carpet. CS Advantage Roofing took on multiple campuses to include Brazos Wood, Brazos Ford, Clute Gym, and Lake Jackson Intermediate Gym. But the total cost was $1.5 million. We did have one room at Brazos Ford get water in it during the project. However, CS Advantage was also quick to respond and replace the floor. Last, Intex Flooring replaced flooring in a number of locations to include the admin building, Hopperfield, Press Box, and the Brazos Wood Fine Arts Wing. Our overall cost for that was $165,000. And upcoming, we have B-Wood Varsity Gym is one of our next flooring projects that will be started once the roofing project has been completed there. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to David Mendoza, Director of Technology.
Board members, over the past summer, there were several technology projects that were implemented. The following are 550 new Dell desktops were configured, deployed, and installed throughout all of the campuses. Over 5,000 Chromebooks with 128 charge cards to charge the Chromebooks were also configured, deployed, and installed throughout the campuses. 101 new ceiling-mounted projectors were also deployed throughout the district. This completes the classroom projector project. 52 mobile whiteboards were configured, deployed, and installed. 80 new HP color laserjet printers were also configured and deployed. New access points have been installed in many campuses, and many of the existing access points have been redistributed in other campuses to allow for more connectivity and coverage. All elementary, middle, and intermediate schools have been equipped with surveillance cameras. We are in the final phases of this project, which involves adjusting and focusing the cameras. All campuses and in their shared facilities have been equipped with access control systems. We have reached the 90% completion mark. Over 1,400 Cisco phones have been configured and deployed throughout the school district. And last, 115 uninterruptible power supplies, also known as UPS, have been installed in network closets to provide temporary power during power spikes and outages. At this time, I will now turn it back over to Monty. Thank you.
That's it. This time I'd be happy to answer any clarifying questions regarding the information that was presented. Yes, sir.
What happens to all the old stuff? Old phones, old chalkboards, old printers?
That's a very good question. Most of our old stuff is pretty much just ready to die. We do auction from time to time, and some of that equipment tends to just go in bulk. We've tossed around the idea, Dan and I have had conversations about trying to auction some of that as individual items on eBay to try and recoup a little cost. Of course, that's manpower to manage that system. Unfortunately, what seems to happen at the auctions is you bundle 50 old projectors on a pallet and somebody gives you $5 for it. Whereas if you could do it one by one, but we try and really maximize the life. One of the things David shared, and I don't know if you guys picked up on it, we now have an access point in every single classroom. Not all of those are new. We took and put new access points in all of 7 through 12, and we took the existing access points and then we saturated the lower grade levels. So without being to the detriment of the district and leaving equipment in place so long that it's really not helping us, we do try and get the most possible life that we can and still benefit the students and staff.
I saw some of the computers that done away with the cabinet. I'm just curious what was happening.
Yes, sir. I'd like to welcome our two new directors here. Your first of many presentations. Thank you. Welcome. Go ahead.
This is a couple of the teachers, this is like, they're allergic to the whiteboard erase things. Are they still going to be allowed to keep their chalkboards if they need to? A couple of the teachers are allergic to the markers, is what I've heard, and that they want to keep their chalkboards, but I never got back with them to see if they got to keep them or not.
I have not heard that. The challenge that we have with that is in they could still move away from the markers potentially, but the challenge we have is the new whiteboards are magnetic whiteboards that actually work with our interactive whiteboards. And I wish Ms. Gardner was here, she could really elaborate on how. There we go, she's hiding. Would you like to speak a little bit about the interactive whiteboards?
Well, there are ways, if we knew who those individuals were, we can work with them and give them some professional development to help them use their interactive whiteboard instead of having to actually write on the board with those markers. So if we knew those individuals, we'd be glad to work with them and see if we can do help them out.
Yeah.
They may have worked it out already, I just remembered that from a few months ago.
Sure.
I mean, our effort for technology is to try to get away from chalk and markers and stuff like that. So, yeah, I never thought of it. I think it's pretty hard. But yeah, that would help move that technology forward. Get them interactive. Yeah.
So I appreciate them, at least making it known and then board can act on that concern. We have people who work on it.
So we currently have wireless in all schools.
Yes, sir, we do. And we actually have our next wireless upgrade plan. We're actually looking at the roadmap today, I believe in 16, 17. Is that correct, David? So that'll be the next refresh, and we'll be implementing the gig wireless technology at 7 through 12, and we'll filter down the old new access points, since that's returned, to the lower levels, and they'll be getting the upgrade from what they've got now. So we'll continue that stair stepping so that we're trying to maximize the useful life of our technology.
That's what your question, a comment, you know, in talking about the new bond, I've heard some comments about people are not sure they've seen the value of the 2012 bond. And so I don't know if there could be an effort to publicize this information and to show the, you know, percent complete, you know, how much has been spent and where the value is and what's been implemented. And you know, that was a nice list, and maybe to consolidate that list and get it out on Facebook or in the paper or somehow get it out to the public that, you know, we have, you know, made the best use of that money, you know, as kind of a promotion to kind of set up for to get the next bond that, you know, we as a district and oversight committee and board and administration are managing the money in the best interest of the district. And, you know, please give us more.
And that's, I mean, the update's on the website now, the publicity part I can see, but the update of the 2012 bonds opinion is already there. It's updated. Dan's got the spreadsheet.
Yeah,
I think we have a
somehow just blitz it to get it out.
The superintendent has challenged all of us, all department heads and directors, to really market their departments and campuses. So we'll definitely, I agree. We'll try and do the best
I
job.
know a lot of the schools have monthly newsletters that go out. You know, maybe there could be a blurb inserted into those on what each individual campus has gotten in the form of technology. You know, with the new roofs, I mean, that's impressive. And, you know, anything, you know, we've got 2 months to sell the community on $175 million. Anything and everything that we can do to help sell it is in our best interest.
I know you and I talked about that earlier, or late last week. I don't remember, it's all blended together. But yes, today actually I provided to Tammy about 3 hours ago a side-by-side of the 2012 bond and the 2014 bond. And she's working on now making it pretty for publication. So.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you. Next is student performance reports.
Good evening. In accordance with board policies EKB and EKC Legal and EK Local and aligned with BISD Strategic Plan 1.3.3, I'm reporting on the results of 2013-14 K through 10 Star Universal Screeners, the 2012-13 Completion, Dropout, and Graduation Programs rates, and the 2014 Texas English Language Proficiency System Assessments, Advanced Placement Exams, ACT and SAT results, and the Performance-Based Monitoring Analysis System. Campuses use the STAR Universal Screening results to measure student progress. Universal Screeners measure specific skills as well as overall reading and math ability. The STAR screeners are administered 3 times throughout the year, beginning or BOY, middle MOY, and end EOY. In this slide, you see the results from last year's STAR Universal Screener. The difficulty increases with each successive screener. As you can see, more students performed at transitional to probable readers on the early literacy report at the end of the year, and more students performed above the 50th percentile in both reading and math. Despite the increased difficulty with each screener, our students demonstrated growth in their reading and math skills. The Texas English Language Proficiency Assessment System, or TELPAS, assesses the English language proficiency of K-12 English language learners in 4 language domains: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. In grades K-1, the TELPAS includes holistically rated listening, speaking, reading, and writing assessments based on ongoing classroom observations and student interactions. Grades 2 through 12 includes all of the above, including multiple choice reading tests. In 2014, the majority of our students progressed 2 or more levels in their English language acquisition. The K-2 results are a positive indicator of the success we are seeing with the Gomez and Gomez model in our bilingual program. The ACT is a national college admissions examination that consists of subject area tests in English, mathematics, reading, and science. ACT results are accepted by all 4-year colleges and universities in the U.S. Brazosport ISD students performed above the state average in all areas of the ACT. The SAT is the most widely used college admissions test. The SAT tests a student's knowledge of reading, writing, and math, and almost all colleges and universities use the SAT to make admission decisions. BISD students performed above the state average in the areas of critical reading and mathematics. 315 BISD students took 483 advanced placement exams last year. While the number of students who tested remained the same as 2013, the number of tests taken increased by 8%. To earn credit for college, students must score 3 or above on a scale of 1 to 5. 73.3% of BISD students met that standard this past year. And as you can see, a higher percentage of BISD students scored a 3 or above on the 2014 advanced placement exams than the state and global averages, and improved their performance over 2013 by 8.3%. In most graphs, we want to see BISD performing above the state averages. That is not the case with the dropout rate. The lower the dropout rate, the better. As you can see, BISD continues to perform better than the state on the grades 9 through 12 annual dropout rate. Across the state, the 4-year completion rate continues to rise. BISD continues to graduate students above the state and regional averages. The final graph in my report tonight is the measure of how many BISD students graduated on the recommended high school plan distinguished high school programs. In the new accountability system, the percentage of students who graduate on the RHSP or DAP is included in the Index 4 calculations. The district has for many years encouraged our students to graduate on either of the 2 college-ready graduation plans. As you can see in this line graph, BISD continues to graduate more students on college-ready graduation plans than the state. 1 year ago, we learned that we would be staged in the performance-based monitoring analysis system due to indicator ratings at 2 and above in the bilingual ESL, career and technical education, no child left behind in special education programs. We were required to engage in the TASE process and receive a site visit from the TEA in April. Our campuses used the PBMAS report to help guide their targeted improvement planning, paying special attention to the performance of our bilingual ESL students. I am proud to show you this list of areas where we demonstrated improvements. On October 3rd, TEA will send the staging notices for this year. We anticipate that we will need to continue our focus on the bilingual ESL and special education programs. However, We are pleased with the progress being made in these areas. Based on the initial PBMAS report we received from TEA, it is likely that we will not be staged in CTE and No Child Left Behind. This concludes the student performance update report. I would be happy to answer any clarifying questions you may have.
The annual dropout rate in 2011, there was a 1%. Yes. That, I know there was a big effort by the district to locate folks and then bring them back to school.
Yes.
Is that the driver for the low?
Well, I don't know that that would necessarily be. We've continued that same process, Mr. Damian, every year. In fact, those meetings are occurring on Fridays throughout this month until the deadline for recovering dropouts. I'm not exactly sure why in 2011 it was at that level, but the efforts that we've been making since that time to bring the kids in, we're continuing.
Good. I was fishing for that answer. Again.
I believe that year was really somewhat of an anomaly because if you look, it's somewhat stable, and that minus that year, it's just kind of a random anomaly in the stats.
I know there was a huge effort by high school campuses and that staff. I know they worked hard.
They do, and they've continued that, and I'm glad you did bring that up because they do meet on Fridays and they take their business very seriously. They recognize the impact that they're having on those kids, and it is like a cheerleading session. It's really fun. The farther you go in these sessions, the closer we get to the end. I mean, there are tears shed and there are tears made. It is really an exciting place to be.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Same as last year.
Yes, sir.
So we had graph comparing Brazoswood to Brazosport.
We do not have a graph comparing Brazoswood and Brazosport, but I do have the data. I'd be glad to share.
Thank you, sir. I know the answer.
Okay, sir. Anybody else? Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next we have summer feeding program report.
Good evening. In accordance with Board Policy COB Legal and in alignment with Strategic Objective 6.2.1, it's my pleasure to present information about our summer feeding program. USDA encourages any school district with a campus that's 50% economically disadvantaged to offer a free summer nutrition program for children ages 0 to 18. The program is called the Seamless Summer Option. Meals are offered at no cost to the child or the district. The program is federally funded. All meals must remain in compliance with United States Department of Agriculture regulations and Texas Department of Agriculture regulations. The sites must be open to the public, and sites must be in a location that is 50% free or reduced during the school year or in a feeder pattern with a school that is 50% economically disadvantaged. This year, we offered meals in 6 locations: Clute, Velasco, O.A. Fleming, Rasco, Freeport Intermediate, and Brazosport High School. We were fortunate to offer meals at locations that qualified where summer school was being held so that those students would also benefit. We also served athletes and color guard at Brazosport High School during their summer camps, and we worked with Boys and Girls Club to serve at sites where they offered programs. I'd like to point out on the chart, in the previous summer we actually had 9 sites open. This summer we had 6 sites open, and we saw an increase of about 3,000 meals. We're thrilled to be able to offer this program to our community. The summer feeding program provides a safety net for families working to feed their children when school is not in session. It is a valuable service to our students. In addition to serving the children in our community, the program is also great for a few of our child nutrition employees who are able to earn extra money by working during the summer program. At this time, I'll be happy to answer any clarifying questions.
Clarifying questions? Thank you. Next, board committee reports.
Oh, I guess we can report on our training at Gulf Coast, Texas School Board Association. Talking about the home rule charter and the charter and much as I would hope to, but research was better. But anyway, it was, you know, put some thoughts out there, so that's good.
Work session discussion, scheduling upcoming events, our next board meeting, October the 14th at 6 p.m. Executive session, there are no agenda items for executive session. Do I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. Have a second? Second. Jerry, and all in favor, say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously.